Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News, special edition of Trump tweets, or I should say Trump, political Trump related tweets. So let's get right into it. And by the way, if you didn't know, my Twitter feed happens to be really interesting to go through. Sheriff Clark doesn't even include the funds they lose for being a sanctuary city. Time for LA to come to their senses. Recent labor agreements, costly court settlements, and funding for combating homelessness are driving up expenses that could hamper plans to expand the city service. And we got to look into that. $224 million in deficit. Wow. What's this? Nope. This is one. There we go.
The vets
to the presidential inauguration.
I was invited by, we did a VIP thing for the vets and went to the Veterans Ball, and so I went to go see Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, I went to the inauguration.
I'm not attacking you.
You get this down. You got to be real careful around here. You know, you get beat up. If you don't believe what everybody believes, this is like 30s Germany. I don't know what happened. If you're not part of the group, you know what we believe is right. They go, well, I might have a problem with that. I'm a comedian. I like going on both sides.
Yeah.
That's good. Chuck Schumer spreading the fear across the country. Americans have noticed that Trump care isn't what the president promised or what's best for them. Yeah, really? How do they know that? I mean, it's not out yet, and they haven't experienced it, so what they're fearing is what you've told them, right? Idiot. And then we have a real genius here, Lara Witt. Paul Joseph Watson from Prison Planet. What our policies on hiring racists? What's your policy on hiring racists? So Lara Witt wrote, also white people are evil. Whiteness is evil. Yeah, right. That shining white light with the angel, that's scary. I mean, yeah, that's scary. But darkness, that's godly, right? So I guess hell is wonderful and heaven is terrible. Anyway, don't listen to the dumbness. This is what he just said. We just heard it. I love Ann Coulter. It's starting to look like the reason the Democrats are so upset about this alleged Russian interference in the election is that they think that they're the only ones who are supposed to fix elections, darn it. How dare those Republicans fix elections? We do that.
These judges should be impeached. Ta-ha, something else Congress should be doing. Impeach these outrageous judges. We were warned we were going to get fascism if Donald Trump became president, and oh my gosh, Judge, we're getting it, but we're getting it from the courts. They are violating the rule of law. They are violating the Constitution. They are violating written law, giving the president authority to do this. And, oh, by the way, as long as they're looking at things said on the campaign trail, in Trump's immigration policy paper, I believe it's the very last paragraph, he called for a temporary pause in all immigration, a moratorium.
Right.
Let's do that. Well.
Okay.
I hope he's wrong. I don't want our hero, Donald Trump, even dealing with Obamacare. As I've said before, come on. What are Republicans in Congress doing? This should be their job. They don't have to build the wall. They don't have to interview the people who are going to build the wall. They don't have to, oversee the travel bans, which I'd also like to say something about, or deportation orders or the trade deals. I mean, the president should deal with the stuff the president does with, and Congress should be the one writing a law allowing us to have a free market in health
political
insurance.
capital in this new health care. You think he should let the interesting. So why is he
Especially
doing it?
this bill.
Yeah.
I don't know. This isn't his bailiwick, and I hate this bill. All we need, as I've said a million times, to take care of 90% of the people in America, all you need is one sentence saying there shall be a free market in health insurance. Congress does have the right to regulate under the Constitution interstate commerce. All I want is a free market. I want to buy insurance the same way I buy a microwave oven, a flat screen TV, and, oh yeah, car insurance. Just give us a free market, and then the big part of the bill, and this is admittedly a complicated part of the bill, are more what we'd call the welfare cases. People who can't pay for their own health care, their own health insurance, either because they don't have jobs or for whatever reason, or because they have weirdly expensive medical problems. Yes, of course, we're going to take care of these people. We're already taking care of these people. But let the rest of us have a free market in health insurance.
Then I want to move on.
She just has a lot to say.
Well, it's starting to look like the reason the Democrats are so upset about this alleged Russian interference in the election is that they think they're the only ones who should be able to fix elections, giving debating questions to Hillary. Man, was Trump right? Trump was right about the election, the primary being stolen from Bernie Sanders, and he was right, as we all knew, that the stuff the WikiLeaks was putting out, it was all true. It may have been taken in ways we object to, but has any of it been disputed as being accurate? No, it's all true.
Well, then what took Donna Brazile, I don't know, I counted it,
That's
8
right.
months
Everything she
to
said
come
is right.
clean on this? Why did she come clean on this after lying with all these ridiculous excuses? Well, what happened that she finally she didn't really apologize. I mean, she basically says, the best she says, sending those emails was a mistake that I will forever regret, but she doesn't really say, I apologize. Why did she do it?
Well, she did it originally to help Hillary, and why she's telling the truth now is, I must tell you, there's quite a history of suddenly getting the truth from both the media and, I suppose in this case, Democratic operatives after the election is over. In one famous example, just before the 1996 election, Bill Clinton had his INS working 24 hours a day, just pumping out new citizens. Felons were being made citizens. People with long records of convictions were being made citizens because they wanted them to vote Democrat.
Right.
They got more than 1 million people registered. And when did we find the truth out about that? Oh, yeah, the Washington Post did expose it.
Did you hear that? Democrats, just like they did this year, they were releasing criminals. That's what Obama did. He released a lot of criminals and told them to go vote Democrat. Think of that. They're willing to set criminals out on the street. I had to change that. Her face looked horrible. She's pretty. I'm just saying that was a bad pause. But imagine putting criminals on the street just to get what you need for your party. That's just so un-American.
After the election. Now, once they've done everything they can to fix an election, then you'll get the truth.
But what I don't understand is she's still vice chair of the DNC, yes?
I don't think Democrats mind this. They're at least not the Hillary crowd. I would think the Bernie Sanders crowd would be a little testy about it. But I would think the Bernie Sanders crowd, and I think a fair number of them, certainly the ones I know, did vote for Trump, or at least didn't vote for Hillary, because of the positions. I mean, Bernie Sanders used to have Trump's position on immigration, did have Trump's position on trade. The funny thing about Bernie Sanders is, I liked him when he was a socialist. I don't like him once he became a liberal. Well,
I told you I have some good stuff on here. Border wall requirement, 30-foot high wall, look good from U.S. side, difficult to climb, or cut through. 30 feet high, you think it's big enough? I don't think so. Listen, man, there's things like ropes with those hooky things on it, with the 4 hooky things. There's, and then the rope has little knots in it so you can climb up easy. What else? Got ladders and ramps and all kinds of stuff. You have to really... It's got to be like 200 feet high. And steel. Steel, not brick. Not brick. The sidewalks of New York have lost a great one. Jim Bursley, long before 9/11, Jim was showing how great average New Yorkers are. Sorry to hear that. 86. Damn it. They have to extend life. They got to work on extending life. That's what we need. That's what we need to concentrate on. Not what he said. He said that. Oh, sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones. Break your bones. Names never haunted me. It's an example of total irresponsible judge living out ideology with the power of the court without responsibility. This is probably her ripping into her opening statement. Oh, I love that.
Folks, they are changing the rules before your very eyes. This is bigger than a travel ban, bigger than a debate question. The left is changing black letter law, journalistic standards, and the Constitution in order to satisfy their agenda. They are simply intolerant of opinions that differ from theirs. And so, they burn buildings in their black ninja outfits at Berkeley to stop an invited guest from exercising his First Amendment free speech. They burn the Constitution in their black robes.
This is not old, what I'm showing you. This is 4 hours ago. She's just going through old stuff.
To stop the president from exercising his plenary powers to protect Americans. And they throw journalism ethics to the wind and promote a liar to the Democratic National Committee's vice chair. Their goal? To guilt you into believing you are the racist, intolerant, stupid, uncharitable bigot. But you cannot buy into their narrative. You must stay the course. This week, a judge from Hawaii puts a nationwide halt to the president's second temporary travel ban from 6 Arab countries. Within this new travel ban, religion is not used as a preference or an exception. In fact, it removed exemptions for religious minorities, although I personally wish they would have kept it, since asylum status can be prioritized based on religious persecution. But the new executive order temporarily halts travel unless you already have a visa or a green card. Judge Derek Watson, however, a Harvard genius, blocks the ban. He stops it, saying that it prevents Hawaiians from receiving visits from their relatives from Somalia, Sudan, Iran, Libya, Yemen, and Syria, and actually harms tourism from those countries.
Isn't Hawaii new to America? Get the hell out. Who the fuck is this guy?
As well as Hawaii's ability to recruit from places like Syria. Hey, Judge Watson, not for nothing, Hawaii hasn't taken in one refugee from those countries.
Wow.
But now you want to be in the forefront of a national controversy and block Donald Trump's executive order? Since I don't think Hawaii has a nexus or even standing with these countries, I personally recommend that all refugees, all 100,000 of them, go directly to Hawaii, go right past New York, Chicago, California, and come straight to you. At least then, you might have a plausible argument that Hawaii is connected to Somalia, Sudan, Iran, Libya, Yemen, and Syria. And then you're welcome to be at the forefront of this national controversy. And this week, Donna Brazile, that good Christian woman, finally finds redemption and confesses that she passed on debate questions to her girlfriend Hillary, which didn't do Hillary much good, which shows you how bad Hillary really was as a candidate. Of course, this good Christian woman, accustomed to persecution as she was, had previously denied passing on these debate questions. Take a look.
Of course.
As a Christian woman, I understand persecution, but I will not sit here and be persecuted because your information is totally false. What you're telling the American people, well, Podesta's emails were stolen. You're so interested in talking about stolen.
So you deny it.
You're like a thief that want to bring into the night the things that you found that was in the gutter.
What a lying, scheming, Machiavellian Democrat. And she uses as a defense to her lie that she's being persecuted as a good Christian woman.
Oh, boy.
It's not only unseemly, it is demonic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't say democratic, although it could be. It's demonic.
I've been saying this. I think I coined it. They're demon rats. It's demon rat.
And then she continues the narrative
Don't call them Democrats. Call them demon rats.
that it's all really the Russians' fault. Folks, this is nuts. Since when does a judge look outside the four corners of an executive order, or any contract for that matter, and reach back to what a president said on a campaign trail? Where there is no ambiguity, there is no need to go outside the four corners of the document. If that were the law, the big question in the first executive order, which was, what about the people with visas or green card holders, which was answered by White House counsel, should have been accepted. But it wasn't accepted because it wasn't clear in the order itself, and so the judge would not reach beyond the order to find the answer. And to suggest that the First Amendment Establishment Clause actually applies to people in Somalia who are not even citizens, who don't have visas or green cards, that we should wrap them in the cloak of our United States Constitution when they're thousands of miles from our shores is outright lunacy. Maybe we ought to put them in Section 8 housing and send them over some mobile homes, and they can float over here and be cloaked in the United States Constitution. Look, judges cannot make decisions based upon their politics or their intense dislike for our president. And likewise, journalists like Donna Brazile should not be able to lie their way into the chair of the Democratic National Committee. That in itself should give you pause for what the standards are in that party. You need to stay the course. They are wrong. You are right in more ways than one.
That's right. That's right. That's why I'm doing this. Chuck Schumer. Oh my God. Please turn on your CC closed caption within the YouTube for the best viewing experience. No, thank you. But there's no fire. Where's all the smoke coming from? Russian-Trump collusion. Look, Paul Joseph Watson's doing what I do with the thing. If there's no smoke, there's no fire, where's all this smoke coming from? And that's the MS media asking that question. Our country seems so divided right now. I do not believe that we can let political divides harden into personal divides, and we can't just ignore or turn a cold shoulder to someone because they don't agree with us politically. We've got to keep trying to listen to each other. Really? And also, the best part about this is, before she says this, she jokes about it. Because we are divided right now. And she goes, I'm going to say something that's slightly serious. It's slightly serious that our country's divided because of you. It's slightly serious that our country is divided because of you. And then you have the nerve to come on and try to be the hero. The one that's going to come back and make everyone stop rioting and stop going crazy. Oh. You're going to go down, lady. You're so dumb. You're all going down. You are all going down. As soon as that first domino goes down, you are in trouble. Time for that. We consider the taxpayer in any budget consideration. Coal miner Kevin Hughes talked about the POTUS's budget plan and loved it. What's this? I return to America? Okay.
Well, it certainly doesn't stand for Sanders. Sanders, first of all, was never a Democrat. He was an independent and a socialist. He is not the mainstream of the Democratic Party. And if the Democratic Party moves left toward Sanders, toward Keith Ellison, it's doomed. It has to regain the support from middle Americans in the Rust Belt states, traditional Democrats. You want to call that the status quo? Fine. I call it the vibrant center. I want to return America to the center, where good conservatives and good liberals, centrists, can argue with each other and get the radicals, the extreme leftists like Sanders, marginalized along with the extreme rightists like the alt-right. Let's bring the debate back to the center. Call that the status quo. Hey, America is great with the status quo. The Democratic Party won often with the status quo. Let's not turn the Democratic Party into the British Labour Party, which is now dead in the water. The Democrats have to move to the center, not to the left.
Well, it's a start. Approval. President Trump's handling of economy, terrorism, immigration, healthcare, Russian relations. Okay. More.
The idea of focusing so heavily on campaign rhetoric and essentially saying, look, if Obama had issued the very same order with the same words, it would be constitutional. But if Trump issues it, it's unconstitutional because he said some things about Muslims in the run-up to the campaign, and Rudy Giuliani said some things, and other people said some things. That's not the way the law is supposed to operate. And finally, the Trump Justice Department is getting smart. They're appealing this not to the Ninth Circuit, where they're likely to get an adverse ruling. They're appealing it to the Fourth Circuit. And the Fourth Circuit is a much more conservative court and much more likely to uphold the travel ban. And then if the case goes to the Supreme Court and ties 4-4, Trump went.
So, Professor, what you're saying is, in studying the Constitution, what candidate Trump said about, say, a so-called Muslim ban or whatever, that you're sort of psychoanalyzing him as a candidate and applying it to their constitutional theory. And is there precedent for that?
Well, I actually said that this wasn't constitutional analysis, it was psychoanalysis. There is precedent in extreme cases where legislators, in enacting a statute, say things. You can sometimes look to the legislative intent. But I've never heard of a case where the rhetoric of a candidate, ambiguous rhetoric to be sure, because I do not believe this is a Muslim ban. Focusing on a country like Iran, the greatest exporter of terrorism, not only no vetting, it sends terrorists out in order to kill Americans. Iran has so much blood on its hands of Americans and American allies. To exclude a country like Iran from the list would be absurd. And the list, although for a different purpose, was originally designed by President Obama. So how can you say that the inclusion of the 6 countries on the list was motivated by what Mr. Trump said when he was candidate Trump? That's just not good legal analysis. And here I'm putting my reputation on the line. I predict that if the case gets to the Supreme Court will uphold the major provisions of this ban.
Good news for us. And Coulter, flashbacks, videos on secret recorded access tape.
Oh my God. Did you hear what Trump said? Trump said that if he becomes president, it's legal to grab anyone's vagina you want. From a geriatric in a hospice who's dying of old age to a baby you can go up.
What are you doing? Why are you talking like this, man? I don't like listening to that. Sorry.
I absolutely agree. The middle class, as President Trump refers to, has been the forgotten Americans, and the people that pay the taxes must be considered also, along with the recipients of any of the programs. People work hard for their money, and they want to see that their tax dollars are spent judiciously and without waste or inefficiency. redundancies. And I think it's time that we consider the taxpayer in any budget consideration.
One of the pro in this that people are saying is that, look, special interests been shown the door. Do you think that special interests have a seat at this table?
Well, I think at this time in our history, we have to have the priorities of the nation, number one. This tax and spend that's been repeated over the years, we're $20 trillion in debt. It can't go on. We've got to prioritize where our tax dollars go and use them efficiently.
Sure, you've seen how the budget that the president's proposed increases spending for things like DOD, Pentagon, DHS, veterans, while reducing it for places like the EPA and some of the National Endowment for the Arts and others. Is there a particular place, a place where you think, hey, that makes sense, that's going to change the way my industry operates?
Not so much on the industry, but as an American, I believe the priorities of our military and our national security, our veterans affairs, very important. I think these are the things we need to concentrate our tax dollars on. We'll find out as this economy gets rolling and the taxes get adjusted for the regular taxpayer, the middle class American. We're going to find out that Americans are the most generous people in the world, and some of the issues will be taken care of through that.
He just stumpified them, both of them. Like, whoa. Should Congress investigate alleged Trump-Russian incident? Of course not. What a waste. North Korea tests new type of high-thrust rocket engine. And gives us a nice screenshot of it. Thank you. How does that even happen? How do we even get that photo is what I want to know. Is North Korea saying, look at us? Is that what they're doing? I'm so grateful we have a president like Donald Trump who's going to appoint judges and justices who interpret the law according to the Constitution actually says, and not according to what the liberals wish it said. Thank you. What's his name? Robert Jeffries? Thank you, Robert Jeffries. Little leprechaun dude. All right.
Well, I attended the rally at the UIC pavilion that got shut down, and while my husband was discussing that online, we actually drew some attention from the left, and they outed us at that point as Trump supporters, and since that point we have been receiving online threats, ratings wars, just called every name in the book, online, YouTube harassment. And recently what we've found is that they're actually even talking to other musicians and threatening people who would do business with us who didn't even vote for Trump. So it's kind of a tragic situation.
So, Alexander, the store, you guys sell musical instruments that you gather up around the world. What's happening to your store now in April?
We're going to close down the retail operation, and I do a lot of really, really amazing repair work on a lot of exotic instruments.
Don't tell us what your next job is. They're going to wreck it.
I plan on very much continuing all of that wonderful part of what we do to serve our community. We have every intention of doing as much as we can to continue all of that kind of process. I teach. I definitely am a very, very sincere performer of live music, ethnic musical instrument specializing in.
Would you guys hear, would people come into the store and say things to you?
Yes is the answer.
Okay.
Friends of mine, sometimes some very, very long-term friends, took the time to come in and say one thing or another. If one guy might be very in support but needing to be very quiet, others really, really made me feel very much like I was just becoming more of a liability to them because they couldn't associate or recommend my shop to do business simply because of their peer group being so seriously anti-Trump that even associating with me was going to be a problem. So it made me think very, very seriously about being so public and having such a really
Beautiful shop.
Beautiful little, brick and mortar shop to create a space for people.
Suzanne, you mentioned at the very beginning that this all started on Facebook when you went to that event, and you started to see these threats coming in on Facebook. Were you surprised by the response of your friends?
I was surprised. Well, it started out with a lot of strangers and people I didn't know, but as it has gone on, it is surprising to see people that Alex has performed music with, people that we've known, I've had in my home, turn around and decide we're white supremacists, we're xenophobes, not out of any evidence. The only evidence they have is that we voted for Donald Trump.
So the store is going to move online right now. You're being forced to close down in the heart of the tolerant left's liberal city, Chicago. You've set up a GoFundMe page, and Fox and Friends is going to link to that. It's called GoFundMe.com/MusicStoreRescue. If anyone wants to help kickstart your business again, because as you say, you've poured your entire life savings into this business. We're sorry to hear that this had to happen to you. We're going to link it up on FoxandFriends.com.
Right.
There's the GoFundMe page at the bottom of the screen if anyone wants to help. Sorry to hear that this happened to you, Alexander and Suzanne. Thanks for waking up early with us. We appreciate it.
Clayton, we appreciate you having us. Thank you so much.
You bet.
That's amazing to me. Even their friends. Trump to name Conway's husband to lead Justice Civil Division. So yeah, Kellyanne Conway's husband is going to lead the Justice's Civil Division. Possibly. Where is the sanctuary for our citizens? Opinion. Supporting sanctuary cities are spelling out our citizens. Selling out our citizens. Yep. Oh my God. If I wasn't, oh my God. If I wasn't this girl's parent, I'd be wringing Merkel's neck with my bare hands. 7-year-old girl raped by 5 Arab refugees in Hamburg, Germany. Man. Let the president lead. Eric Boldenstone. Let him lead. Let him lead.
You're brilliant.
I think that President Trump should send Rachel Maddow a thank you letter and maybe some Trump wine to enjoy one night because she helped him out. Because what do we